Yo, what's going on with y'all, man? It's your boy Smitty, the elephant in the room. We here for another edition of Let's Talk About It. Today, I got a special guest, man. One of the hottest guys out there in boxing in Philly right now. Social media, he tearing it up. One of the best analysts you'll find, in my opinion, on boxing, on social media, man. Gregg Hackett. Y'all see the hashtag Greggy Cash for any of y'all out there, man. How we feeling today, Greg?
Hey man, I'm chilling, man. Sunday, just falling back. What's going
Got
on?
Got you, man. Before we get into the interview, we can talk about boxing and all that. But what got you into boxing? I like to ask everybody that the first time I sit down with them. What made you? When did you fall in love with boxing?
For me, it was just fighting in the streets. You know what I mean? Getting in trouble. My mom was like, "You gotta get in the gym." You know what I mean? She seen me going down a bad path, so she like, "You gotta get in the gym." But when I went in the gym, it felt like I always been there. You know what I mean? It felt like where I needed to be. It just was fun. You know what I mean? So that was it. I mean, just from fighting and shit like that outside.
Got you, man. So you basically just being a knucklehead on the block, and your mom was like, "No, if you're gonna do this, at least do it in a positive way," and it turned into something you already knew that you could do and you love.
Yeah, that was the crazy part though. I wasn't never like a troublemaker. It just I never ran from it neither. Like
Right.
somebody start fucking with me. It's like, all right, come on. You know what I mean? Then that just lead into more shit, I guess.
Got you. You got a comment right here. Greg was wilding last night on live. What you was doing, GH? What you was doing, man? They said you was
uh
wilding last night on the live.
nah, we was having a conversation, about the Tevin Farmer and Schofield
Let's
fight.
go for it all. Yeah, I was gonna get into that about
Yeah.
Schofield Senior. You know, you and them had an epic rant. I think was it last year. Y'all two had an epic rant. I ain't gonna say what you was calling them. I'm gonna let you call. I don't want Pop coming on me growing and all that. Like, nah,
Right.
you was up to so I know. But yeah, man, what's your thoughts on that fight? Since we brought that up, the Tevin Farmer and Floyd Schofield. We know Floyd Schofield had that little situation back in February when he was supposed to take Shakur. He got sick or whatever. That's what the reports were, and they had to pack out. And that's when Josh Padley stepped in. But what's your
Yeah.
thoughts on that fight for Floyd Schofield?
I mean, fights like this is what make you a better fighter. And what I mean is Schofield, instead of going in there with one of the sharks right now, meaning Shakur is already like established and he's in his prime. You know what I'm saying? Tevin Farmer, he had his time and he still can fight. You know what I mean? He's skillful. Yeah, he's strong. So but is he older, so it's not as tough of a fight as it would have been if it was 8 years ago. You get what I'm saying? So for me, it's a great fight for Schofield because if he win, you know what I mean, that proves that he's on another level. But if he lose, that proves, you know what I mean, he got to take a step back and get some things in order. Yeah, that's why I like the fight. You know what I mean? It's a jump, but it's not the biggest jump in the world. If he would have went in there with Shakur, Tank Davis, Keyshawn, that's taking a large jump. Like this right here is a little hop skip, like you going to the next level. You know what I
Right.
mean? So that's why I love the fight. And Tev being from Philly, I'm always rooting for him. You know what I mean? I want to see him do his thing. I just love to see my guys from Philly get an opportunity. You know what I mean?
Right. Right, man. That's what I thought about when Jaleel Hackett fought back when he fought on Boots undercard, John, when he fought,
Oh
I
yeah,
forgot,
my man
when he
from New York, Pete.
fought Dobson, and I was
Yeah,
like, this is a good jump for Julian. It's gonna see if you ready for the big leagues or if you still got some things to work on before you step out there. So
yeah.
that's what I kind of compare this fight for with Floyd Schofield with him and Tevin Farmer. Absolutely, absolutely. Since we speaking on Philly fighters and your guys from Philly, outside of Boots, we'll talk about Boots. Who's some of the guys that's in Philly right now? I just did an interview yesterday with Dennis Thompson, young boy, Dennis
Yeah.
from down north. What's some other guys that's youngins that you really like that you waiting for them to get their time, their name called so they can show out?
I mean, I got a fighter, Jabril Noble. He's 6-0, 5 knockouts. You got a younger named Johnny Rivera. You got Kadeem Hunter. You got
Kadeem, yeah,
my guy. What's my guy? I got so many names running through my head, man. We got a list of them though. We got a big list of them. I mean, young boy Moo, he a beast. He fight at 54, 47. I think he's 6-0 right now with like 6 knockouts. Um, Atif Overton, I want to see him get busy. Um, we got a lot of it's a lot of them, man. I don't want to
We
miss
got a
nobody,
lot
but
of
it's a lot.
fighters right that's coming up and that's
Yeah,
been on the scene for a while. Ishmael Muhammad, he under the boot staying bold.
Ishmael Muhammad. Yeah.
Got you, man. I got you. So, I like to ask all my boxing trainers this, man, like, because you still get active when the time is called, but you train a lot of young fighters. What's some things though when you looking at a young fighter that you looking for when you seeing them fight? Like, what's some things that you looking for? Like, you could tell, all right, he's ready to step up, or we some things that we need to work on.
I mean, it could be a lot of things, you know what I mean? His heart, first of all, his desire. I wanna know if you really want to be in that type of fight. You know what I mean? A lot of people say that they want to be champion, but they don't want to fight. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
until they
Me,
get in the chin, and it's they reevaluate their
Eh,
situation.
yeah, like they say they want to be the best, but they don't understand what it take to be the best. Sometimes you got to get knocked down. Sometimes you got to get punched in the eye. You know what I mean, and get cut. And sometimes you got to go through those things to be the best because that's what builds character in the ring. That's what builds experience. That's what builds ring generalship. You know what I'm saying? So I'm looking for his heart first of all. I'm looking if his heart is in it. I'm looking for it. Do he really understand what his jab is for? You know what I mean? When he get inside, do he understand what's going on when he inside? Meaning, close combat when he in a phone booth. You know what I mean? When he on the outside, is he comfortable? Is he comfortable with boxing, his footwork? You know what I mean? Just everything. Defense. I'm big on defense. You know what I mean? I need a guy moving his head, catching punches, rolling punches. You know what I mean? All that type shit. I'm just looking at the whole thing, man. I'm looking at everything.
Got you. Since you said you big on defense, we got one of probably, in my opinion, the best defensive fighter out right now, Shakur Stevenson. He take a lot of hit, like
Right.
PR hit. You could say we want to say professionally because he's a defensive fighter. Is he one of your guys that you like to watch because you like defense so much? And what's your thoughts on this PR hit that he takes on social media and everything because of his style of fighting?
I mean, if we talk about the style part first, like people not going to be pleased with a style like that because his style is based around winning. His style is based on being in the best position. A lot of guys when they fighting, they don't know where they at. They just
Right.
fighting. They just know they got somebody in front of them and they trying to hit them. You know what I mean? They're not really paying attention. So that's cool. But guys like that, I mean, they get caught with shots and they don't know what happened, and next thing you know, they knocked out. So with a Shakur. I'm not mad at Shakur for the way he fight. You know what I mean? My thing be with Shakur is let your hands go a little more.
Yeah, that's my only
But
thing. Let him go.
yeah, let him go a little more. But the way he fight, I love the way he fight because it's a scientific style. Everything he do is scienced out. Everything he do is measured out. You know what I mean? That's why I do love his style. But all I ask is, throw a little bit more punches.
Yeah, yeah, and right. That's the one thing I seen Roy Jones say sometimes that he's so great defensively, he takes himself out of the proper zone and to get himself back into it offensively. Sometimes and when I watch it, I be like, yeah, sometimes he does too hard to make his guy miss in front of him that he takes himself out of position where he can lunge back with a punch himself.
Real
Absolutely,
rap.
absolutely.
Real rap.
So, so you got a good fight. Actually, before we move on, when you talked about the heart, I like what you said because that's why Abdullah Mason, he's one of my favorite young fighters, if not my favorite. Because what I seen last November from him in Norfolk when he fought on the Keyshawn Davis undercard, when he got clipped in the first round, got up, still fought, then got clipped again, got up, still fought. I said, yeah, he needed that early in his career because one, it taught him patience, youngin, slow down, and you ain't got to come in and just be ready to kill something. And
Right.
two, it also showed his heart. Like, okay, I got hit in the chin. I know how it feels to touch the canvas. I know how it feels now to have to get up and then keep fighting. So absolutely, that's why I like Abdullah. What you thoughts on Abdullah Mason though? Actually,
I mean, that's why I like Abdullah Mason because he not just talk. You know what I'm saying? A lot of guys, when they get knocked down, the confidence level drop. I mean,
right?
he got stronger, he got better. You know what I'm saying? Getting knocked down. And then, like you said, he was able to go home, realize what he did wrong, check himself, come back out, and look even more impressive. You know what I mean? So a guy like that is only going to get better as long as he understand these things happen in boxing. This is going to happen, but why did it happen? You know what I'm saying? So I think Abdullah, man, his future is going to be very bright. He's going to be very bright future.
Right. You think he gonna stay at 135 for too much long? Because he looked like a big young boy. I think he might 140 for a few fights and then be at 147 before the next 2 years. That's a big youngin. And when I
Yeah,
talked to Ray Stevenson, he even said because he be with Abdullah, he said Abdullah is like 180. I think when he look, I guess when he not training, I'm like, God, that's a big youngin, and he only 20.
yeah. He not gonna be at 35 for too much longer.
Yeah, that's what I believe too. So go fast forward, man. You tear the boxing waves up on the internet though, man. You and my
Mhm.
man Brian Norman Sr., man, because the whole Boots and Brian Norman Jr. thing. And you hurt my heart though as a boxing fan, as a Boots diehard fan, when you said Mill City, shout out Mill, you said, no, I don't think that fight's gonna happen. And I was like, no, don't say that. Don't say that, GH. Were
Yeah.
you serious or were you trolling? I gotta
The re-
ask.
the reason I said that is because sometimes like sometimes you know what to stay away from. I feel like Brian Norman know what to stay away from. That fight could have been made after both of them last fight because they only fought 2 weeks apart. Brian Norman immediately went into negotiations with the Sasaki fight.
In
uh,
Japan next couple weeks,
yeah,
yeah.
right after his fight. And they might have been talking about that fight already before Brian Norman fought. So to me, if you really wanted to fight Boots, you would have waited till Boots got done with Stanionis, and then y'all would have went into negotiations. Even though Boots said he gonna take some time off to chill. Now he don't mean time off away from the game like he not gonna be around it. It's just I'm gonna go chill for a week or two. You know what I mean? Because that's what fighters do on a world class level. They don't have it's not required for a world class fighter to get right back in the gym the very next week simply
Right.
because simply because it took them 3 months to get ready for the fight. So I think Brian Norman senior knew they could have got ready, got that fight next, but I don't think they want it. I don't think they really want that fight.
What you think it's management or you think it's top rank? I think when I'm looking at Senior, when I talk to Senior, and then when I see Senior on all the shows, I think Senior wants that fight. I think it's because of you and his little rivalry. But you don't think it's top rank because we know how top rank moves on they fighters.
No, it's not. It's not Top Rank. I think it's his dad because Top Rank doesn't know Boots. His management doesn't know Boots. They know who he is, but they don't know him.
Right.
What I mean by that is Brian Norman Senior and Junior. They know Boots, meaning they've been in the
Right.
ring with him already. They know what that shit hit for. So that's why I'm saying they don't want that fight because they know how tough the sparring was. So you don't want the fight to be that tough. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's
Got
what
you.
I
I got
and that's what I mean by the new guys. A lot of these new guys, they want to fight and they want to look good, but they don't want to go through a war.
you. Absolutely. Yeah, that's a lot of things with boxing. That's why I said I like Abdullah and what he just proved last November. That's why I love Tank. That's why I was big when the whole fight with Lamont and Tank got established. I said, no, it's gonna be a good one because I know Lamont gonna try to fight. He not gonna sit there and say, no, let's not fight, let's fight. But I know your power, you know my power. So that's
Mhm.
why I definitely agree with you that a lot of dudes, like I talked about it last night on the live. I said a lot of times with fighting, there's a lot of fights that don't get made right away because of them sparring matches. The people get in there with them spar with the people they fought. And if they get leveled up to world champions eventually, whatever, and all that. But they remember them sparring matches, them amateur bouts they had, and they be like, no, I'm gonna try to drag this along. Whether it's let me see if he can get hurt or let me see if he loses or something first before I try to step in there with him. So
Right.
I damn sure agree with that one. You right, you damn sure right about that. But since we speaking about Tank and Lamont, man, I know you done had some different things. Shout out my man Jamil from YSM. You spoke with him about that. The rematch is rumored. I don't know if the fighters signed their deals yet, but we know that the venues booked, the date is booked. So it's looking like all the signs is leading to is just on Lamont and Tank to go ahead and put the pen to paper, ink to paper now. What's your thoughts on that rematch and how you think it's gonna look?
I think this is what boxing should be about. These is two guys that know each other in and out of the ring, but most importantly, the fight was competitive. That's the fights that we need. That's the fights we want. You know what I'm saying? We want to see competitive fights. We want to see, real fights. That was a real fight. And it was a real fight because the skills are different, but they both high level. You know what I'm saying? The one guy is known for punching and one guy is known for his durability. You know what I'm saying? And that's what made that a beautiful fight. And that's what I want to continue to see from boxing.
Absolutely, absolutely. No more of these, like, I don't even gonna call them cherry pick because that's disrespecting a fighter, but no more of it's being a talent gap between, all right, this guy, we know you gonna wash him up.
But that saying only comes from people who don't know the game. You know what I mean? If you
Right.
don't know, if you don't,
Absolutely. I'm happy you said that. So can you elaborate that? Because when I tell people all the
yeah,
time, it's not a cherry pick, it's just you might not know that fighter because you ain't
yeah.
familiar with him.
Yeah, I tell fighters all the time, stop getting in arguments with people who cut hair. Stop getting in arguments with people who fix cars. You know what I mean? Because it's a different lifestyle. It's a different world. It's more than what you see. You know what I'm saying? So people watch something and they look at that. Now that they got awareness of the box rec and the stats and all that, they got Google. So now they think they know because of Google. Everybody think they smart because of the internet. That boxing is some shit you really gotta see, meaning you got to be in the gym with these motherfuckers or day in and day out, or you just got to be in there yourself to understand. A lot of people don't understand. So when they was counting Lamont out, they just didn't know what they was talking about.
That's why I told people, I said, y'all count Lamont out because I said, it's unfortunate. It's not Lamont's fault that, and it's like I said last night, it's no disrespect to Pro Box, but Pro Box didn't have the distribution as far as being out there on media outlets like Top Rank, PVC, and Matchroom. So you might not see Lamont now. People that know who the Roach family is, because whether you involved in boxing, whether you used to box, your family box, whatever, you know, Lamont. That's why I remember Shakur kept saying before the fight, he kept saying, this is good. I got Tank, but I don't think it's gonna be that easy. This fight he could lose. And I was like, no, this. I said, Lamont gonna give Tank what he wants. Is because for one, the familiarity. Lamont's pop
Hmm.
coach Tank helped him win the Nationals when they was younger. Lamont
Hmm.
and Tank didn't help each other get ready for fights before. They didn't work out at each other's gym just on some training camp, not even on training camp, just on some, man, I got to stay in shape for when that next fight come up. So if it's sort of like I compared it to Antonio Tarver and Roy Jones. When two people know each other, it makes a dangerous fight for even the person you think is the favorite.
But this what people don't get when people say Lamont his father coached Tank before. What people don't understand is it's not even the part where he coaching them in the fight. It's the part when you spending time around him and you finding out things. When you find out what's a guy's favorite TV show, what's his favorite color, what's his favorite, you know what I mean, a hobby and things like that. That's when you get to learn about a person. That's when you really understand a person mental. You know what I'm saying? Once you get to see somebody's real mental state and why they think the way they think and why they eat the way they eat, why they breathe the way they breathe, that's when you understand somebody. And that's why that was a great fight because it was two animals that was familiar with each other and they had great respect for each other. And they still have great respect for each other. And that's why every time you put them in the ring, it's gonna be a great fight.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Damn right. So, I ask everybody this though. What's 5 fights you want to see, GH? 5 fights you want to see in their prime. Not no old people that's like, man, we should have saw that fight 4 years ago. 5 fighters that right now in their prime that you want to see fight. And you
Uh
can't use Bud and Canelo because we getting that. That used to be everybody, all because Bud threw it out there, but no Bud and Canelo since we getting that.
yeah, my number one is Tank and Shakur. My number two is Boots and Jamel Charlo.
Ooh, what, 154?
Yeah.
Ooh.
My number three is I want to see Inoue versus what's his name? The tall 126 pounder at Top Rank.
Bruce Carrington.
No, 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 no. The Mexican kid.
I know you talking about he made a tweet after Inoue and Cardina fought. Actually, I know exactly who you talking about. I just can't think of his name right now.
Yeah, the tall kid. I forgot. Damn, I forgot his name, man.
He made a tweet right after. I want to. I don't know if it was right after Inoue got knocked down or it was after the fight, but he made a tweet during that fight.
Yeah, that's three. I want to see Richardson Hitchens
It's,
versus Gary Antoine Russell.
I'm happy you brought Gary Antoine up. We're gonna talk about it after we break down these 5 fights.
And I want to see Janabek versus I want to see Janabek and Berlanga
Janet Beck and Berlanga. Why you want to see? That's interesting. I ain't heard nobody throw that one out. Janet Beck and Berlanga.
because Janabek is not a 160. I think he's more of a 168.
He's a big
Ber
boy at
and
168.
Berlanga and Berlinga is he hot.
He
He
hot
not
right.
he not the man. He not the man, but he hot. And I want to see him get a fight like that. And if he could win, that would tell me. Even though he about to fight Hamza Shiraz, it's a good fight. But I like Janabek better. Janabek, my favorite 160 pounder.
My favorite 160, Troy Isley. I like him. I know he's still in
Yeah,
contending stage, but I
yeah,
really like Troy. I think he just
yeah,
need a couple more fights, and then I think Top Rank need to just let the leash off and let him go in there.
yeah.
I
That's my
give him a couple more fights. Make sure y'all know what y'all getting out of him, but then let him go because 160 wide open right now.
yeah. It's a lot going on up at 60.
Yeah. So why that's interesting, man. A lot of people when they say bring my man Boots up, they bring up they don't bring up Charlo. They bring up Virgil Ortiz. I say I wanted to see him and Bud, but I know that ship can sail now. That's unless Turkey forces Bud to do it, that's probably not going to happen. But I always hear the Virgils or I hear the Brian Norman. What made you what you see in Charlo that makes you want to see him and Boots go with each other?
Because we got to be fair. Charlo is the man at 54.
Yeah. And
Charlo,
people taking that the people taking that one fight and acting like he's not him still. He definitely is.
I mean, he lost to Canelo, and when he lost to Superbad, he got the rematch and he won. He knocked him
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
So come on, like we got to be real. Charlo is the man at 54, for real, for real. Um, no disrespect to anybody else, but I think that's a great fight.
Great fight, Boots and Charlo, 154. Boots, people keep saying that Boots might be going up this end of this year because he can't get undisputed. We'll talk about Boots and T.O. later, but I love Boots, right? I understand what Boots is because Boots is my favorite welterweight. I watch a lot of his content. I follow him. I do all that, right? My thing with Boots is I understand. He's like, bro, it's not that I don't want to fight these other dudes. My goal is set on going undisputed. I want all the belts in my weight class in the Ring magazine for my weight class. So
Right.
I understand that. But I also understand when people say when he's going to his weigh-in, how he's looking skinny, sort of like how people be telling Jalil, like, dang, young boy, you look like you killed yourself just to make this weigh-in real quick. So I understand that part too. What's your feelings on whether a Boots is killing himself to make weight or not?
Uh, every fighter's killing himself.
I mean, yeah, everybody's definitely killing themselves.
You know what I'm saying? Nobody's fighting at their walk around weight. So they all
Right.
killing themselves. The average person has trouble losing 10 pounds. So
Absolutely.
so we talking about guys who time in and time out, they make these weights. They just know how to do it. But of course they gonna look skinny because you're seeing them in rare form. You know what I mean? Once they eat and all that, it's right back to normal. So they all to me they all killing themselves. But that's the sacrifice that you gotta take in the game to give yourself a fair advantage. You know what I'm saying?
Right. You gotta give yourself an advantage to keep your body right. Then you also had an interesting one. You said another one. You said Jenna Beck and Berlanga, Boots and Charlo, Tank and Shakur. That's the one everybody want to see though. Tank and Shakur. Do you think we get that fight while they still in their prime?
I
Me and the
think
boxing source, we was talking about it last night. We was talking. He broke down the politics behind Tank's deal with Amazon, and he thinks eventually we're gonna get that fight, if not this year, early next year, because of how them distribution teams go with their money. They dish out a lot of money, but that's because they're expecting a return. And right
yeah,
now, that's kind of why that. I think that's why that whole Jake Paul foolishness was thrown out there. Really not for the fight, but just for the handle the business side for their money. So that way they can kick now say, all right, Tank, we need to see some fight. Do you think we're gonna get that fight while them two still in their prime? Because they both in their prime right now. Do
yeah.
you think we're gonna see it while they in their prime?
I think we could get it, but the thing is, fights like that, guys, the business side guys, the bosses, they want to be respectful. What I mean by that is, you can't offer those guys bullshit money. It got to be great money because the second that you say that fight is happening, everybody's tuning in. I
Tickets
don't.
are selling out in the first month.
The tick,
Everything.
ticket's gonna be crazy. So I think I think we do get it, but the money got to be there. The money got to be there.
That's why Turkey out of sheet trying to. People try to say because Turkey, I guess Ring Magazine donated to Coach Calvin. Now everybody throwing it out there. We may get it. Turkey and Calvin with his Tank. I'm like, what Turkey do with Coach Calvin and Coach Kenny at Upton? That don't have nothing to do with Tank with his business side. Because at the end of the day, he could say the fight not happening, and Calvin gonna be like, we can still handle business for my youngins at the gym, but that don't got nothing to do with Tank and you, man. I can't tell Tank what to do.
And that's just more of Turkey's brand. Turkey trying to wake the ring back up because people don't remember the Ring magazine because the Ring magazine was before the internet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So what he's doing is waking that back up. Like the Ring is, was at one time the Ring magazine was the main source for boxing, like to get news and to get stories and things like that. Now that you got the internet, people forget about things like that. So what Turkey is doing is just, opening that back up.
He's trying to open it back up. He's starting in the hood. He's going to the trenches like, let me show them that I'm here for y'all. Then he gonna hit the burbs. Then he gonna go hit the country where the
Yeah.
country gym's at. Then he gonna go to out there to the Calabasas areas where all them
Yeah.
gyms is. Yeah, I definitely feel you. A lot of people. That's crazy you brought that up. I remember the Ring magazine as a young boy, and my cousins and all that had me reading. I'd be like, man, you finished? You be like, nah, watch out, young. You see this after I'm done. So I definitely remember, and it's crazy you said that because I remember for a stretch it was like, dang, what happened to the Ring magazine? I ain't seen that around in a while. And it's
Yeah.
now social media back. You could tell that Turkey got some people that's telling them, no, we got to push the Ring with social media. You do your content creation with it, and that's how we get it popping. Because there was a time the Ring belt was one of the most prestigious belts out there. Like how the welterweight division was
Yeah.
probably the most prestigious division next to heavyweight. The Ring magazine belt was one of the most prestigious belts to have. So you're right about that.
Yeah.
So now that you said in 5 fights, I know you got relationships with everybody that you named, as you probably know some people on their team. Who you got as the winners in your 5 fights? Your personal winners.
Um the the the
Tank
the
and
f-
Shakur.
the Taker Shakur fight could go either way.
That's what you got. To me, arguably the best defensive IQ fighter, the best offensive IQ fighter, and it's like what happens because the answer could be, well, is Tank gonna be able to hit Shakur, and then someone could revert back like, well, when Tank do hit Shakur, is his chin gonna be able to withstand that power from that little dude? So I
Right.
definitely agree with that. That's a 50-50 to the max. That's a don't even bet on that fight unless
Yeah.
you know something happened in training camp. Don't even bet on that.
Gary Antoine in Africa.
I'm
I
happy
love
you reminded me about that because I got to
I,
ask you about Antoine.
I love that fight because I respect Africa's skill set. It's a lot I know he can do in that ring. Um, but Gary Antoine is an animal, and I
The
think
boogeyman, in my opinion.
I
Because I
think
don't
I
get
think
none of you guys at 140 screaming in it. You got Tio with video game dreams to go out there with boots. You got Africa, he trolling Bill and Devin. You got Poyo, he ain't screamed nothing about a rematch yet. So I'm like, what's going on? That man's the world champ. Y'all all in the same age bracket. Why y'all not screaming his name out? But go ahead,
yeah,
let you finish
and
cooking, GH.
I just think that Gary Antoine is the more complete fighter. I think it'll be a great fight though, and I do pick Antoine though to win that fight. Um, with Inoue and I forgot his name, man.
Can't remember his name. I got his face right here in my head, but I
Yeah,
can't remember his name. And I
yeah,
got my phone right there, but I'm like, I can't keep looking back, but I can't remember his name for some reason. His face is really like when you said it, I'm like, yeah, I remember he made a crazy tweet after don't
yeah.
either after Inoue got knocked down or after the fight, and I just can't think of his name for some reason.
Yeah, I want to. No, not Nakatani. What's the tall 120? I'm talking the boxing source. The
Yeah,
tall
that's my man,
120.
JR.
The tall 126 at top rank. The tall kid. I want to. But anyway, I think that's just a great fight. I think that's a 50-50 fight. Um, I think Boots get the decision over Charlo,
You
and
don't think there's no knockouts in that fight?
no, I don't think it's a knockout.
Oh, Rafael Espinoza, that's his name. Yep.
Espinoza, yeah, Espinoza and Inoue. I would love to see that fight. Um, but like I said, I think Boots beat Charlo on the cards, and I think against Berlanga and Janabek, I think somebody get knocked out. One of them get
You
knocked out.
don't know who, but somebody
Ye-
getting knocked out. That's one thing I definitely give. You can say whatever you want to say about Berlanga. He knocked dudes out, and Janabek putting dudes on their ass too. I definitely give you that.
Yeah, somebody get knocked out.
I got you, man. Since we go back to Gary Antoine, right? I seen you did an interview with Gary Antoine. Me and Twan, we working on some things. I've been calling him the boogeyman for 140 for the reasons I just described to you, right? Why is it? And now you watched that Ryle fight. I seen your clip you did with my man Emil from YSM.
Yeah.
We both had the same time because when I what you spent, I love watching your content, GH, because I swear to God, you be saying it on camera. What I be thinking in my head when I'm watching the fight. Because when I
Right.
watch Ryle and Gregg Antoine, you know how you be like, as a champion, you're supposed to get a rematch clause. Because I guess the one trainer put out that Ryle's trainer had said there was no rematch clause. They was forced it, or he was gonna get put on the shelf and all that, and then
Right.
pop his belt. And when I watched that fight and I seen that clip after the fight, I said, "No, good brother, good brother. No, no, good brother. That was a thorough, like you said, a thorough ass whooping from rounds 2 to 12. Like I thought the ref was gonna stop that fight because Ryle's eye was like this and close. I'm like, ref, stop this fight, man. Antoine
Yeah.
is looking sweet. Like Gary Antoine could have hit the boot shuffle, the Muhammad Ali float like the float like the butterfly, float like the beat dance, all that, and Ryle still wouldn't have been able to react to him. Because I was
Yeah.
like, golly, Antoine is whooping his ass right now. Like, this is bad. Like,
Real
this is
shit.
real bad. And you said that talking to YSM, and I was like, damn, GH just said everything that was going through my head watching that fight. Like, I
Yeah.
felt like Gary Antoine was sitting there as the mass bomber for the Russell family, and they said, hey, go get him. Go get that belt and bring it back to the family real quick.
For sure. And that's why a lot of you answered your own question where you said why them other dudes don't call him out because it's too much work you got to do. I mean, that's if you fight Gary Antoine, you got to have your equipment, man. You got to bring your equipment.
Because he could box, but when he's boxing you, it's like every hit he's hitting you with you is packing a punch. So it's like, dang,
Hmm.
dang, dang. Like you seen, like I said, Ryle's eye, it was like, damn, Ryle. Because when I seen how Ryle handled Pitbull easily, I'm like, when I went into the fight, I was like, I like Gary Antoine to win. But I said, after what I just seen Ryle did with Pitbull, he might be able to withstand Gary Antoine because Pitbull could pack a punch and he got a mean ass chin strap on him. So it's not like he just gonna drop down from him. And I said, Ryle never been one of them real explosive punchers, anyways. He more of a finesse to box you and all that, tag you up, tag you up. But I'm like, I don't know. But then when I'm watching that fight first round, I was like, all right, this is the first round. You know, but from the second round on down, I was just like, damn, this is
Hmm.
bad. Like this is
Hmm.
bad. So yeah, I definitely understand. That's what happened. I told him, I said, nah, Antoine, you shouldn't have did Ryle like that. You might have gotten a chance to unify or get your rematch. They all seen that and said, nah, Poyo might have just made Gary Antoine mad. We might be in for a run. But that's crazy. You threw out the Richardson Hitchison fight because I was talking to the source. Me and the source were talking about that. And I said I would love to see Richard Hitchison call out Gary Antoine. I see you getting Camboso. That's a nice name to have on your resume. And Cambosa can still fight. I don't put him in the upper echelon, but he's still a great fighter. And that's a good
Hmm.
name to have on his resume to fight. But I would love to see that fight. IBF going against the WBO next. That'll be a damn sure good fight.
Hmm. Yeah, for sure. I mean, all of those fights is great fights. I don't know what's going on at 140, but it's something going on, and I don't like it. You know what I mean? Because it's some hot names there, and they ain't fighting.
They not like everybody keep going at Tank and them at 135 while they not unifying. I'm like, shit, go up 5 pounds more. They doing the same damn thing at 140.
I think Tio. I think that's what Tio doing. I think Tio ducking the work that he got at 140, and he keeps saying Boots' name because he know that fight really not gonna happen. But if it do, he gonna make some good money. I feel like he think the money at 40 is not as big, so that's probably why he keep talking crazy. But Tio to me is a chump because you got all the work right there, bro.
That's
You
it.
got
You know what's crazy? You took the words right out of the source's mouth. Me and him was talking about it last night when we was on live. Tio got all the work. Any type of style fighter he want to fight, he got all of it at 140. The Poyo, the Hitchens, the Antoine. He got each shit. Ryle, if you want to say I need a tune up so I get a big fight, Ryle right there. They try to see if Ryle can bounce back and resurrect his career or not. 140, you got a lot of work at 140. A lot
yeah,
of work.
yeah.
Shit, I'm not understanding why you want to have a video game dream, as I call it, and fight Boots, which is to me, some people trying to make it seem like it's a good fight. I'm like, I mean, Tio got some athleticism and his hands is fast, but other than that, what do you see as a good fight at for Tio and Boots? Like, do you see that as a good fight?
Nah, Tio is too small,
That's what I'm
and
saying.
and he hasn't proven nothing at 140 pounds. He's proven at 135. He's not proven at 140. So I'm just not a believer. I need
Me and
that, baby.
bro, everything. This is why I love bringing guys like you up here in the boxing source, because I'm actually talking to people that know boxing. It's cool to talk to fans because you can see a fan's perspective, but that's why I gave you your flowers when we started. Anyway, I said to me, one of the best boxing analysts on social media right now. I
Yeah,
said, you just said the same thing we both said. He's too small. He accomplished everything. If you was telling me Boots was at 140 and T.O. wanted to come up to 140 and fight Boots, I would be all
yeah,
for it. But I would say, shit, at 135, T.O. probably got the best resume for his generation. At 135, I can't argue that. But what has
yeah,
T.O. done at 140 that makes you feel like he should jump up to 147 and just go right at Boots? When at
right.
147, Boots already told you, I want to undisputed. We want to see him in Brian Norman. Even though Barrios and Pac-Man going to fight, I got Barrios winning, but he want to get Barrios though. So you feel me? That's why I'm like, what has T.O. done to deserve to get to just jump all the way up to 147?
And that's the thing. If he was dominant at 140, then I can understand. If he was undisputed at 140, I can understand. Or if he was even unified at 140, I can understand. But he just talking. He just talking.
That's why I think. I think it's he got a fan base that's gonna sit there and say, "Oh, T.O. this." I'm like, bro, T.O.R. this. He already showed us why he was trying to get away from Top Rank. So we know what this is. Say Boots' name, get a grab. Say Boots' name, get a grab. But no, just stay away from Boots. Like it's too small to be fighting Boots, man.
Right. Real
So
shit.
you got good. You got Keyshawn coming up, man. I know how you feel about Keyshawn. I be watching you always talk. Keyshawn fighting in 2 weeks, man. June 7th down in Norfolk again, man.
Yeah.
Edwin De Los Santos. He's coming off a 2-year layoff and a hand injury. He hasn't fought since that Sol Shakur situation fight happened.
Yeah.
But Edwin De Los Santos, he's claiming he's 100% healthy. He's been training the last 2 years. He even said Keyshawn's not as tough as Shakur. What you think
Yeah.
about that fight?
I mean, this is going to tell us a lot about Keyshawn because Edwin is not just a tough guy. He's dangerous. Like, you know what I mean? A lot of guys be tough, but they don't be that dangerous. He's dangerous because he's awkward and he can hit you with a shot and hurt you. So, and he's quick. So I think with all that being said, Keyshawn got his hands full, but if Keyshawn make easy work out of him, then people got to really respect Keyshawn hand, like, and what he's doing in boxing.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I say. Because if he goes out there and do that, of course they're gonna try to the people they gonna try to say, oh, he did what Shakur couldn't do. But I mean, if he let his hands go and he do, because Edwin gonna come in there to fight. He gonna want to fight with Keyshawn, so he gonna test Keyshawn's power out. We definitely know that. We definitely know that. He definitely gonna do that.
Yeah, sure.
So yeah, man. So what's some other things we can be expecting out of GH, man? As you come in and we gonna see you on any more Boots promotion cards, man? We got any lined up for the summer coming up, man?
I think he trying to work on something for me. You know what I mean? Something that
Okay.
makes sense for me. You know what I mean? If not, we probably do something on the road. I don't know. We see what happens.
See what happens. See if GH back in there. You and Brian Norman Sr. gonna run the rematch back.
He don't want no trouble, man.
Oh, Senior don't want no trouble. Senior, if you see this, man, say you ain't want that rematch,
I,
man.
I respect him for getting in there, but he don't want no trouble. Real shit.
That's all right, man. You got any words you want to give us before you get up out of here, man, man?
I mean, to all the young fighters, man, train hard, study the sport. You know what I mean? Get your money, of course, but be smart about it. Um, to everybody, I mean, just keep supporting the game, keep showing love. I appreciate you, Smitty, for bringing me on. You know what I'm saying? And just keep being real about things.
Oh shit, Source. He said GHB got robbed in that fight.
Yeah, I feel like it too.
You should have put some home cooking down there in Georgia,
It,
man. You
it
supposed to
definitely.
make them meet you in the middle, man. Maybe a DMV fight or something
Yeah,
in the
that's what I
Midwest.
was trying to do. I was trying to do that, but they kind of had it already hooked up, and it was cool though. Yeah, I mean, I'm a dog anyway, so I'll go to Alaska if I got to.
He said, I'll go fly out to the cold if we have to. That's one thing I respect about you. When you in that build up, you said people kept trying to clown you about your record. And he was like, listen, what a lot of dudes don't know is I'm from the hood, bro. You not gonna tell me that you gonna pay me for a fight. And I know I got these bills coming up and we trying to
Yeah,
figure out how we gonna pay this bill. And I'm not
yeah,
gonna go in there and fight to get paid so I can keep a roof. Yeah, you crazy. Even if
yeah,
I knew I was going into a fight that was a bad matchup for me and
yeah.
I should be doing, I'm gonna take the money because I need to support my family. And
But
I
any
respect. You
But
said that.
anybody that ever seen me fight, they could never say I went in there and quit or I went in there and fought for the money. I always rumble. I
Hey,
always rumble.
you made sure the money was right, and then you went in there and said, "No, we gonna fight, buddy. We
Yeah,
gonna fight." I respect that absolutely.
for sure.
Ain't no quitting. But man, GH man, it was good having you. Hopefully we can do this again, baby man.
For sure. Appreciate you. Anytime.